Regenerative Medicine. We're here where we promote doctors to basically help you get out of pain or to feel more comfortable. Today I'm here with Dr. Nazrenko, DC. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're in great times, my friends, and today we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be talking about nutrition. We're going to also be talking about the big topic, why chiropractors in functional medicine is so important right now. And so again, I know that you also have a book out.
We do.
When Food Hurts. It's a #1 international bestseller.
Yep, that's it. And you'll see my wife's name on there as first author. I give her all the credit because she did the lion's share of the work on it. Thanks for the mention.
Yeah, so I'd like to maybe talk about your book a little bit before we go into, why chiropractors and functional medicine is needed right now. Let's talk a little bit about your book.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really her story. It's called When Food Hurts, her journey. No spoiler alerts here, or I'll let you read the book, but it's really about her journey. She was kind of left without any answers at the time. And it was a real moment of self-discovery and understanding that a lot of this is going to happen through our own research, through our own taking responsibility by ourselves to figure out all this. I mean, this was years ago that she was wasting away. And she just wasn't getting answers. She went to one doctor that told her, they looked at her as a 20-year-old female that wasted her down to about 89 pounds and said, go eat a Big Mac. And I thought, like, oh my goodness, you're fired. Like, that's the worst advice that you can give a patient. But no one was listening. No one heard her. And so it was this journey of self-discovery. And, I walked that line with her until we got to the point where we realized, this story needs to be told. There are people that are suffering out there that don't even understand that food happens to be a major component when it comes to our overall health. So that's what kind of led us to write the book. And, like you mentioned, we're very grateful it's an international bestseller at this point. We're just, blown away by that fact.
And we can also get that book at oldmillchiro.com. Is that correct?
You may not find it on sale at oldmillchiro.com. You can definitely still find it on Amazon. I'm pretty sure we still have that Kindle version pretty low because we want this information out there. We want to be able to help people with it. So, you can get the hard copy soft copy. You can get the book in hand or you can get the Kindle version on Amazon.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And everyone, make sure you get the book. I'll make sure that we have it in the link down here on the bottom. And as you all know, sharing is caring because we share one video. One video could change one person's life. Even if you're not in pain, let's think about others right now. So the big thing that we're going to be talking about is why chiropractors and functional medicine doctors are so needed right now.
Yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity for those doctors to really pivot themselves and being aware of how they want to speak and the message they want to deliver to be an integral part of our healthcare system. Any other day of the week, I will go toe-to-toe with my colleagues and talk about how we have a sick care model, not a healthcare model, and we need this paradigm shift, and it's so important that we're proactive and personally responsible about our healthcare. But this is not the time. This week and these next few weeks are not the time to have that argument or conversation. We have a sick care model that is there to respond for major crisis, illness, emergency care. And you know what? They're doing a phenomenal job right now, and they deserve all the credit for being on the front line and doing their part. This week alone, we had, I think, 35 healthcare professionals come into our practice when a lot of practices are shut down and just be so grateful. They're grateful we're taking the protocols and the procedures to make sure everyone's safe, but they're also very grateful that we're here to help them. They are stressed out emotionally. They are physically overworked and stressed. Chiropractors are there for function, right? And so we want to make sure that these MDs, nurses, EMTs, everyone on the front line is able to function and do their part to handle this crisis. So we are a huge part of this. Are we treating sick people? No, and we should not be. That is not our role. Should we be treating the people who are treating? Absolutely. I believe that it's so imperative that we're here for them and here for the people that are listening to the news and unsure about what's going on and they're freaking out. This is a time of uncertainty. This is a time of unrational fear. Should we be precautious? Without a doubt. Should we be prepared and taking proper measures? Without a doubt. But at the same time, there's a lot of overlay going on right now that I think chiropractors have a unique situation to be able to help people that are going through these hard times.
What would you say to people right now where we have a lot of people that are living in that type of fear right now?
Yeah, I would say, take the precautions to be responsible and respectful of others that maybe don't have as strong of an immune system as you do. People who are immunocompromised, the elderly, take the proper precautions, but do it without fear. You don't have to be afraid just because you get to hang around your yard for a little bit, right? And I'm not trying to downplay anything or make light of a situation. What I'm saying is this too shall pass. Look beyond it. What happens as this starts to tail off? We're all going to come back out, and there's going to be this beautiful renaissance of neighborly love, of people just having a better understanding of what a handshake is or what a hug is, like that transfer of love and energy. Focus on that. And as far as our family, we're closer than ever. We are a tight-knit group anyway. We operate family first, but in our house, I'm snuggling and hugging my guys, and my wife, I'm so grateful that she's, all that she does day in and day out, but especially now, this is an opportunity to really sink your teeth into what you're grateful for. So find gratitude, not fear.
It's funny you said that the other day. It was just like a few days ago. I had lunch with a friend, and our handshake was just bumping feet.
Right.
And it's interesting that you say that about how it's bringing families closer together. And I think that I like to say, call it the perfect storm. And I'm looking at this because it is bringing families back together. I think the family model has been broken for many years. I mean, we have so much technology that's just kids on the technology, and they're just not able to focus. And now it's like it's bringing family together. Kids are actually talking to their parents.
Right.
So, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, where do you think right now that the healthcare, basically, where is the healthcare model right now?
I think if you're talking about the overall healthcare model in general, I don't think we're in a good place when it comes to overall health. When you look at the top 8 killers, they're lifestyle related. I think we need a huge paradigm shift on what true healthcare is. I think we need to focus on personal responsibility and lifestyle if we want to have a healthier nation. Now, what are they doing in this moment today? They are working their butts off. They are working very hard to make sure people stay safe and responding to a crisis. And they deserve all the kudos for that, because I talk all the time about this sick care model that we have. Guess what? People are getting sick, right? Some people are getting sick, and we want to decrease the exposure and decrease the likelihood that more people get sick. That is a great system, and we have a good system reacting to such things right now. That is a sick care model. They're doing their part. They're doing a great job with it. But if we step back from this and we realize that this will settle, our healthcare still needs a major overhaul when it comes to personal responsibility and lifestyle care.
I would agree with you 100%. What are your thoughts on, because I know you're a chiropractor and you also do functional medicine. What would you think? Where do you think functional medicine doctors should be focusing on right now?
Yeah, I think that the basics, go back to the basics of what we know works when viruses are present. Go to, your vitamin A. None of us or very few of us, I should say, are eating liver meats these days like our great grandparents were. There's tons of vitamin A in that. Now, people are afraid of vitamin A because it's fat soluble, meaning that it will store in the body and it can become toxic if you have way too much.
Right.
Most of us aren't getting nearly enough vitamin A right now, and it does do its part when it comes to combating viruses and boosting the immune system. That I am not concerned if I'm eating liver meat twice a week, then I'm going to go hyper vitamin A. That's the first thing. Vitamin C is another great antiviral, and you can't overdo it. If you do, you're going to get diarrhea. That's the first way that you can actually, as a very low technology test for people, hyperdose them on vitamin C until they get diarrhea, and then you scale them back by about 10 to 15%, and then you know where their sweet spot is to get plenty of vitamin C there as well. Vitamin D, we're coming into springtime. The sunshine's going to be rising up a little higher in the sky. We'll be absorbing a little bit more vitamin D. Get that sunshine. There's no quarantine on your backyard. Get out there, get some sunshine. And then your minerals. Don't forget about, selenium and zinc. These are an important part, making sure that you're eating these vitamins and minerals. And if you can't get them through diet, making sure that you're getting them supplement-wise that's an important part. Now, when we talk to reactive, right, that's all proactive things that you can do. When you start looking at things that you can do reactively, you can bump up on vitamin C. You can take some bovine colostrum, is fantastic in our office. We use it a lot with gut healing. But it actually does have immunoglobulins. The cow that's out there eating in the pastures is building up immunity to what it's being exposed to, right? And so what happens is they build up immunoglobulins, that gets put into the colostrum, and make sure you find a responsible source to get your bovine colostrum from. We don't want the calf starving. We want to make sure that the calf is getting their part. And so we've done that with a company that we use in-house, making sure that it's a responsible source.
So from what I kind of hear what you're saying is like, not all vitamins are basically created equal.
Without a doubt.
Right. So I know that we talked about this, that you do have a probiotic line. Is there something that you can recommend people that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're looking for a good high quality probiotic, you want to make sure that number one, it's actually a probiotic. A lot of companies, because there's loose regulation on this, are putting prebiotics, so maybe one strain of a probiotic in that and selling it as, this is fantastic. You want to have a lot of diversity when it comes to your probiotic, and you want to have a lot of quantity of that as well. We know the Bifido classes, are excellent strains. The lactobacilli as well. Those are all highly studied on the benefits of that specific strain or those specific strains, to make sure that you're getting a good quality and quantity of both of those.
What would you say right now, what people should be focusing on taking right now besides the liver?
Yeah. So vitamin A. And so here's the thing. Liver is going to give you that pure retinol vitamin A, that pure vitamin A. Cod liver oil, that's easy to take if you're not going to, be able to stomach liver. You need a lot of it to get your proper doses, but at least something is better than nothing if you're doing nothing right now. Plant-based stuff, beta carotene, when you look at certain substances, they're not absorbed the same rate. So you're not going to get that 1-to-1 like you will with retinol. But beta carotene, I believe it's 1-to-12. So you can bump up on that a little bit to get the proper levels that you need. But if liver is not your jam, finding supplements that are going to support that. But I think food first. I think, again, the book is called When Food Hurts, because certain foods will harm you. But there's also plenty of foods that are going to be doing wonders for you and your immune system and your overall health. There's an old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, are we eating an apple? Did you eat an apple today? I'm going to make sure that I'm getting my apple today. And that's one little thing that we can do. Peppers, colorful peppers are loaded with vitamin C. A lot of people think citrus fruit when they think vitamin C. And yes, they're right. But also, you don't have to just sit there and eat oranges. Eat your peppers. Eat the rainbow. Make sure it's good organic source so there's not pesticides on it. And eat the rainbow. Eat fruits and veggies. Eat food that expires. Everyone's stocking up on their prep food during this chaos, but eat stuff that expires. Eat stuff that's going to go bad if you don't eat it. That's natural.
Wow. So on your book, it's funny, you kind of got me stuck on your book. I need to get that. My wife and I, she turned me into a health nut.
Okay, good.
I used to be one of those guys. Give me some hot Cheetos.
Right.
I'll take a McDonald's once in a blue moon, and then she'd be like, "Do you ever notice that every time you have hot Cheetos, which has MSG, you get a migraine?
How about that?
Whenever you have a burger over at McDonald's, you want to go comatose and go to sleep."
Right.
So, it's so right about the foods. Is there something that you can say without doing a spoil alert? Are some of the main foods that we should really be focusing on to have it? We should be having it with a good intake that we should be focusing on.
Yeah, it's no secret or surprise. Our grandparents were right. Eat your fruits and veggies. There are some people that, are more against meat than I am. I think if you're doing things in moderation, meat actually provides a ton of essential amino acids that you just can't get if you're, not getting good source meat. But make sure it's organic, grass-fed. That's the key thing. You can eat almost anything that's reasonable and that's actual food. As long as it's, organic, grass-fed, it's going to have less harm on you. But I think the biggest thing that, if I can kind of turn the tables on that, to avoid is actually our gluten supply. Gluten affects every single one of us, but we all have different thresholds. It's just like an immune system, right? We all have different thresholds of immunity. Right. Well, gluten for me didn't bother me for the longest time. So I just kept going about my business knowing that it wasn't great for me, but, do as I say, not as I do. Whereas my wife can't even get cross-contamination of gluten in her meal. Otherwise, she will know it immediately. I used to be able to have a beer and, a slice of pizza with it and be like, I'm okay. I'm a little bloated afterwards, but I'm okay. Right. And then I started paying more attention as the time went on, and my threshold. So this is what happens. It builds up. Your body can only handle so much until it crosses a threshold. And so what happens is it build up, that inflammation build up, which we know is a major killer in this country, inflammation, to the point where I started getting more stuffy, more sinus trouble. And I thought, well, that's weird. I'm not allergic to pollen. I'm not allergic to anything that I know of. What's going on here? And it was actually a buildup of ignoring the signs of gluten exposure. And so now, since going gluten-free, it's like, wow, night and day. The inflammation, I feel less bloated, less puffy. I can breathe through my nose. So that's one that we should probably all be avoiding, just to varying degrees as far as how it's going to affect us.
Would you say that eating better will help people, say, with diabetes,
Yeah, great. So I'm in South Carolina. We're in the diabetes belt down here. Diet matters. Nutrition matters. Our lifestyles matter. And so, yes, type 2 diabetes, especially, without a doubt, it's a lifestyle related disease that, you want to hit it before the problems arise. We're so used to waiting and being reactive. Again, that sick care model. Let's be proactive. Let's shift the conversation to really talking about, if we eat more fruits and veggies and we eat more proper portion size, will we have the amount of, diabetics in this region? And my answer would be obviously not. I don't believe that we would at all. If we're being proactive about our healthcare, we should have less health problems.
You're totally right. It's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that when their neuropathy started, it was because they never changed their model of eating when they were a kid. And they just kind of kept that, all the chocolate they can have. There's sunflower seeds. Nothing wrong with sunflower seeds, but there's different types of sunflower seeds. Right. And I noticed that when I was talking with this person, not going to name his name, but he said that when he started eating right, he started getting better blood flow in his body. And next thing you know, his foot stopped hurting. Right. But whenever he had like some chocolate or something, all of a sudden you could feel the throbbing. You know what I mean? And it's so interesting. We don't realize that our body is actually allergic to junk. I mean, when I have a beer, I like beer, right? I can't drink beer now. I literally get a cramp right here. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening to my body, and I think that book that you're talking about that I want to, purchase and get on Kindle is that we really need to listen to our body and also to focus on the foods that are actually good for us, and that all food is not created equal. All vitamins are not created equal. So that's why I really want to push, everyone out there, he has a probiotic line, please don't hesitate, give them a phone call. And just because you have a grocery store doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting the best vitamin C or even D. I just talked to a doctor the other day. He asked me where I was buying my vitamin D. He goes, there's maybe 2 strands of even vitamin D in that. And the rest of it's just stuffers or fillers. Right. So do we have to call you to get that? Or is there something, do you have something online?
Great question. So I think a great resource for people, because we're constantly talking about empowered parenting on this, and also a lot about gut health, would be our Facebook page, which has become our international page at this point, which is facebook.com/treehouseliving. We will also be launching a website that we will post on there. But you can find a lot of information on that page, more so I think than our brick and mortar, our chiropractic office, unless you're local, of course, but that's oldmillchiro.com. But if you go to the facebook.com/treehouseliving, you'll get a wealth of information there on how to be, proactive about your healthcare, but also a lot with parenting. The kids are our next generation. I'm one of 5 in the state that's pediatric certified when it comes to chiropractic. We see lots of kids in our practice. We are a true family practice. And that's really our mission. We want to see the world be a healthier place. And to do that, you have to break the chain. Everyone blames genetics for things, but it's really about how you live. Are you living the same way that your parents lived? Because there is something called epigenetics, and the way that our bodies express is largely based on the lifestyle that we live. So we want to get to people. We want to change the trajectory of this country, because you look at the numbers, and our sick care model is not working. Our lack of personal responsibility is not working. We need to make a dent. So join us there, join our movement, and you'll get a lot of information there. And as we bring up our storefront, where if you are looking to buy more of these things that I appreciate you so much mentioning, that I'm not here to sell, but I really appreciate the the shout out. They'll be there. They'll be there for purchase and available. And we just want to see, my wife and I want to see the world a healthier place.
So I'm just passionate about health because I'm 43 years old. I have kids, and I want to live very, 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 very long to see my kids, and I know that there is a shift turning in that because people are starting to wake up. You notice that 3-4 years ago when any of us would go shopping, we would see a line of organic, like a small, like a little, you get like a little box, and I'm like, what's this? Now we're seeing whole rows. So people are catching on, and that's why we need people like yourself, to spread the word. Now, I know that you're in Lexington, South Carolina. What are the surrounding areas that you are seeing people that are coming from to come see you?
It blows my mind that we have people come all the way down from Charlotte, Rock Hill. That's like an hour and a half away. The closest city to us, big city, is Columbia, our capital. Lexington is kind of a, I guess you call it a suburb of that. It's kind of growing into its own little city of itself. But yeah, we're not far from Augusta, is right down the road. We're kind of at the bullseye of South Carolina here. So as far as patients in the practice, we have Charlotte. We have some people from like Somerville area, which is down by Charleston. It's just amazing that people will drive the distance they will for their chiropractor. And when it comes to our online functional medicine stuff, right now, I think our farthest, she had an in-person meeting with me to start. And then once that's established, we can see her anywhere in the world. She's back in South Korea. So that's my farthest. I don't know if we're going to beat that as far as distance goes. Right. But for our functional medicine side of things, South Korea is our farthest patient right now.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. With the functional medicine side, what are a lot of things that you have to provide for people that maybe they don't know too much what functional medicine is?
Yeah. So functional medicine is really about getting to the root cause of illness and really addressing a lack, especially when it comes to nutrition. Specifically, right now, we do a lot with gut health. The book is about gut health. We have several tests that can look at different markers. So when you have leaky gut, you're going to see an IgG or an IgA response. We can measure those. We have certain tests that measure dysbiosis. We can look at your bacteria and get a count of the good versus the bad bacteria and see what, in comparison, those look like compared to ideally what they should be. Right. But I think a lot of it boils down to individualizing. What do you need, Mark, as Mark to thrive? We all have this fingerprint that is our gut microbiome. How do we support yours? Because it's not the exact way that we're going to support mine. Now, a lot of the things that we do are going to be overlapping, but at the end of the day, it really has to be individualized when it comes to taking hold of your own health. You have to do things that are right for you and your body type and your lifestyle.
Exactly. Wow. You have a lot going on over there at your office.
We do. We stay busy.
Wow. So, and what are your hours?
Great question. For chiropractic, we work 9 to 12 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we come back for the afternoons on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 3 to 6. I'm not here Wednesdays, and I'm not here Friday afternoons. We'll probably change some of that when we bring an associate on. And then for functional medicine, because the pace is totally different, we compartmentalize those at noon and at 6 o'clock to have that personal one-on-one. That is a deep dive into history. That is a deep dive into what's going on. And we really need to be more knee to knee to have those conversations and dive into people's life and lifestyle. Whereas chiropractic, after that initial exam, making sure that they're in the right place. If not, we get them to the right place. Then we're treating them and we're getting them well and we're keeping them functional, which is such an important thing these days.
Wow. Again, I just want to say thank you for being on the show. And also, if you wouldn't mind lifting up your book one more time, you and your wife's book. Awesome. When Food Hurts. All right, everyone, go grab that book. And the reason why we're doing this is because we're focusing on helping people. And it's not about just because we're going through this virus thing, everyone. People need a chiropractor all the time. think about this. We all have a vehicle. Our body is a vehicle. And if we don't get a tune up on our vehicle and an oil change, what happens? It starts to break down. You know, when I first started meeting with chiropractors monthly, I see them three times a month, get an adjustment, see if there's anything wrong, because this is an investment. So my friends, if you're looking and you're in the South Carolina area, please get a hold of Dr. Eric. And let me tell you something, he'll be available to help you and not just, you know, give you a back crack. He's going to go do an entire, how would you say that? You basically—
We're going to do a consultation, make sure you're in the right spot. We do a full history and examination. We want to make sure that, you know, if someone's not supposed to be in my office, I want to get them where they should be. And if they are supposed to be in my office, I want to make sure I know how to treat them the best that I possibly can for that individual.
Right. I'll tell you, when I first started getting into more functional medicine, I started realizing that my life was getting back to when I was feeling when I was 20. And
yeah.
I tell people, you know, I have family that have neuropathy problems, and it's because of what they're eating. So everyone, again, thank you so much for being on the show, everyone. And also,
thanks for having me, Mark.
Thank you. And make sure everyone, when food hurts, make sure you